glad to see so many folks came out this afternoon. And what I want to do initially, I guess, is to let you know why we're here. This program is being put on by the NAACP. And the reason it's being sponsored by the NAACP is that they are declaring war on crime here in Fresno. And that's a very serious statement to take, because I know these young men that are here today, and the ladies that are here also, you have loved ones who you worry about, who might get involved in a drive-by shooting, who may get mugged or robbed, or their home broken into. And what has to happen is that we, as men, need to take our positions and let it be known that we understand what it takes to protect ourselves, our families, and our community. Now, one of the things that is crucially important with us, with this particular slant on crime, is that we understand that the family is the basic building block of society. The family is that entity, that unit that transmits values, culture, norms, things that are indicative or let you know what is right and what is wrong. The problem that we're confronting today is our families are falling apart. This is a dilemma that is not only something that's common in the African American community, but throughout the entire United States and the world. And one of the reasons why families are falling apart, is my humble contention, is that men are not doing what they're supposed to do. Young men such as yourselves don't always have the clear role models to teach them how to be men. We have a lot of things that we see on television, that allude to grandiose and what's cool, what's hip, and all the rest of that. But those are not the things that exemplify manhood. And the first reality is that we must understand is that men must be taught how to be men. Now, ladies that are in the audience, I truly appreciate you being here. And I'm not slighting you with the bulk of this conversation, but it's like I feel that there's a necessity for me to address these young brothers so that they understand what their role is as a man, because it's only a man that can appreciate a woman for the greatness that she has within her and exalt her to the queen state she's supposed to be. So when we watch guys who try to superimpose their will physically on someone else, these are not the actions of a man. When we find adult males who go forth and talk about they've got a child over here and a child over there, and they're not taking care of the responsibilities, these are not men. Being 19, 21, 25, 30, or 40 years old, age does not a man make. We need to understand very clearly what it is to be a man. We need to understand very clearly that there are some very precise and succinct responsibilities that come in the midst of that. Now, the manhood training program is a program that instills a number of values. Now, values are like boundaries. They let us know how far we will go and how far we won't go. Values assist us in making decisions very rapidly, because our values tell us what's right and what's wrong. And what's important, what has happened to families here in America, is that we've gotten away from the traditional values. We've gotten away from men spending time with their sons, their daughters, their wives, their families. We need to understand that if we are going to strengthen our communities, if we're going to have a positive impact on the societies that we live in, we need to understand that we must be men. There's a call going out for the men. What needs to be understood, first and foremost, is that the African American community has had a number of problems that we've had to deal with. Hispanic community, the Asian community, and all the various communities here in Fresno. Fresno is a very unique city in so much as that approximately 74% of the entire population is made up of minorities. Now, when you understand values, when you understand manhood, you don't have to have a very monolithic or singular view on what you will do and what you won't do, because a man is universal. Now, different cultures may have some different values from time to time, and values are important, but they're not to any major extreme. Now, we need to understand that a value, though it may change in time, it is not as transient as an opinion. When I say transient, I mean it won't change just as fast as an opinion will. The thing that we need to know, the thing that we need to be mindful of, is that men have got to assume the leadership roles that are necessary to, first of all, hold our families together, to secondly, hold our communities together, to hold our political structure as it stands today together, so that we are not being systematically and continuously overlooked. There's a call going out for the men. Now, if you kind of plug that in, we can go to the first flip chart so we can have some idea of the overview, the introduction. Now, some of the things we're going to be covering here in this introduction is, first of all, the fact that men have got to be taught how to be men. Secondly, we're going to talk about taking control of our lives. Thirdly, respect. And I do need to say, you know, this group of young men right here, you look very good. You look sharp. You know, and I'm pleased to see you having that kind of appearance, because that's the kind of appearance that'll get you a job. That'll get you a job for sure. You look good. Respect is very, very important. We also need to understand that the other portion of this will be understanding that there is no freedom. There is no freedom without responsibility. When you want freedom, and freedom is the ability to determine your own life, to have your hands on the rein of your own destiny, you cannot have this happen unless you're able to shoulder the responsibilities that go along with that. So, first of all, we need to be very clear that freedom goes hand in hand with responsibility, and also the importance of respect. Now, going to the top of this, where men must be taught to be men. There's no saying that people used to say a long time ago that I haven't heard it in a long time. And what that was is, it's so nice to have a man around the house. I don't know if you guys have heard that or been around. There's some folks who may go back far enough to have heard that. But that isn't being said much anymore. And the reason it's not being said much anymore is because men are so hard to find. Now, there are a lot of males. You know, there are a lot of male adults, but there aren't many men. And before I go forward with that, I should probably go to the next slide and give you a definition of exactly what a man is. Now, the little program that you're handed, there's a note area. What's going to happen is that at the end of this, or at the end of my speaking, I'm going to leave some time for to respond to some questions. So as I talk, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can jot it down on the note portion of that little program that you're given. And I will respond to those. But as we go forward, we understand that before we can become and aspire to be anything, we must have a very clear vision as to what it is we want to be. When we talk about being a man, talk about being a woman, talk about being a doctor, being a pilot, being a surgeon, whatever it is, whatever that is your aspiration may be, you need to know what that is. And a man is a state or condition when an adult male has a composite of qualities such as courage, honor, determination, and respect, and consistently displays traits of dependability and responsibility. And consistently displays traits of dependability and responsibility. When you say something to someone, they should be able to depend upon what you say. When you give someone your word, that your word should stand for you. So, if we understand what manhood is, and this is the definition of what a man is, we need to begin to envision in our minds what kind of man we want to be. Now, my condition or my upbringing is not very, very different from many of yours. My parents divorced when I was relatively young, and I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with my dad. I was real fortunate, though, that when my mother remarried, my stepfather provided a very, very clear role model of what a man should be. You know, he used to sit me down and tell me about, you know, how to work, good work ethics, telling the truth. As a matter of fact, he had a job, second job at night, when he used to clean these buildings. He used to go into this maintenance work, cleaning buildings. I guess I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. I'd go in and help. And there's also this one desk, this person always had these little lifesavers. So I used to always bust off a couple of them, you know, take a couple of lifesavers. So my stepdad came in and he said, he saw me through the lifesavers. He said, Ron, he said, first of all, those are not your lifesavers, you know, and you shouldn't take them. Because you're taking those lifesavers means that you're stealing, because you're taking them without the permission of the owner. And if a person is known to be a thief, and a person is known to be a liar, that person is void of integrity and character. Integrity and character is what carries us forward. Those are the bases, those are the things that where real self-esteem is talked about, it emanates from. Also, we're hearing people talk about, you know, negative self-images and low self-esteem. Young men, let me tell you this, what self-esteem is about. Self-esteem is not about what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of car you drive, what kind of shoes you wear, where you live. Self-esteem is an emotional reaction that you have about yourself when you know, when you give someone your word, that your word is good. When you know that you make a commitment, that you're going to stand firm and stand fast with that commitment. Those things, when everyone starts saying, well, you know, John was supposed to be here an hour ago, he's not here yet, da 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 da. And if you know that when you say you're going to do something and you're always there, when they talk about people who don't meet their commitments, when they talk about folks who are not responsible, when they talk about people who are very selfish and just concerned with their own internal needs, when you know that your name is not mentioned amongst those, you stand tall. You stand tall. When you know that you do the best that you can possibly do in any and every given circumstance, be that a circumstance on your job, if you have a part-time job, or if it's at school, or if it's in your home, you know that you're keeping your home and your room in an orderly condition, you're helping out as much as you possibly can, and you've got a vision and a plan, and you know where you're going and how you want to get there. But you've got to have a vision. That's the most important part. You've got to be able to see beyond today. You've got to know what you want to grow and evolve into. You know, if you want to have the kind of lifestyle where you have a family, and your family's going to live in a comfortable home, and you'll always have enough money for food and the gas off, and money to pay the gas bill, the lights, and take trips and drive a nice car. Well, if that's what you want, you can achieve all of those things. But you can only achieve those things if you've got a plan. And if you achieve those things, you win. But see, the only way that you're going to win is if you prepare.